So we're recording? Okay.
Okay, so I want to thank everyone for coming. Our final week of our 3-series mental health and wellness during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the Michelle Greenwell and Roni Davis agreed to come aboard and help us out with some strategies to deal with all that's going on in our minds through the pandemic and through mindfulness, nutrition, and movement. So today we will be talking about movement. So I want to welcome you. My name is Susan Fox. I'm the Executive Director for the Strait Area Chamber of Commerce. And a few housekeeping tips that we'd like to do is on the bottom left corner, I ask you to mute yourselves so that we don't get that background noise. And in the top right corner, you will want to have it on you'll see speaker view and gallery view. You will want to have it on speaker view, especially for this week. I know the other weeks we had some PowerPoints. This week, Michelle will be standing up and doing some movements to get us going. So you'll want to have it on speaker view. So thank you, Roni and Michelle, again for coming and helping us out, and a little introduction for these ladies in the areas of movement that they have worked in or are working in now. Roni started running and strength training in 2007. She completed the PTS course and with Can Pro Fit in 2010 and was a personal trainer until 2018. During that time, she was named the 2015 Canadian Trainer of the Year. She was featured in the National Bodybuilding magazine, wrote for and was featured by international bodybuilding websites, and was a member of the largest team of female competitive physique athletes in the world, a nationally qualified champion figure athlete, and worked with the best of the best in the entire fitness industry. She specialized in weight loss, strength and conditioning, and achieved jaw-dropping transformations for herself and her clients. And she currently runs a cognitive eating program and is in beautiful Quebec. So Michelle Greenwell has over 3 decades of experience in the movement sciences. A dancer since the age of 6, she had to stop her competitive career due to injury and has spent the last 2 decades researching and pursuing the best tips and tools to keep her physical body optimally functioning. Her original love for dance was fueled into fitness training with the aerobic craze in the 1980s and 90s. We all remember that, or most of us, sorry. She found that Tai Chi at a point in her life when she could no longer walk and was teaching dance from a stool. Michelle's pursuit of something better to keep her body healthy led to Touch for Health, a system that balances the muscles in the body, which assists in the energy flow to the organ system based on the 5-element theory of Chinese medicine. Now pursuing a doctorate in integrative health from Akamai University, Michelle's specialty is how to use movement to heal the body. So we'll let the ladies take it away. Michelle will be the lady leading this week, and Roni will have a few comments as well. So I'm excited.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, so I thought I would give you a little bit of background on some of the movement that I'm going to share with you, and then we'll just turn the PowerPoint off and go to it. And so then I'll just do from talking, and then I'll make the screen much bigger so you can see. So the first part I wanted to explain to you is the difference between exercising and building energy. So one of the things that most people think about, and we grew up with this, is that when we are physically active, it keeps us healthy, and that is true. But sometimes we don't have the energy to sustain us for what we think we'd like to do as we go to do those physical activities. So you might decide to go for a run, and you always run 5 kilometers. And today you had a whole bunch of things go on in your life that were very stressful, and your body isn't quite up for that. But you think that in order for you to get your proper workout in, you need to do that 5K, and you need to push yourself so that you'll get to that space. But that puts us into a stress response, which is we took our body beyond where we had the energy to support ourselves. And so where I'm going to be coming from is this perspective. Sorry, I'm just going to try to admit another person. I'm just going to come from the perspective of when you are under stress, you need to really be aware of what's going on for your body so that you can respond by building energy for it that you can store and then use it as you need it. But also when you do those physical activities, to just be really cognizant of choosing things that keep you out of stress. So in Tai Chi, we talk about a 40 to 70% effort. If you have an injury, and that could be mental, that could be just the stress you're living under, being isolated and surrounded by family members all day, trying to get your work done. It could be that you haven't been able to go out and see the people you want to see, and you really are feeling anxious. And in that case, you don't want to work at 100% because it means you're going to have to push yourself in that overdrive. And what you want to do is pull yourself back to a 40% effort and allow the body to be really relaxed. So that's an exercise I'm going to take you through. If you're okay and everything's working fine and you're feeling like you're not too stressed out, then 70% effort is where you want to work. And that means you're not going right up to the maximum end and you're going to be exhausted when you're done your workout. It means that you're going to be working within a level that allows your body to build some energy and store it. And I'm going to show you how that works. So those concepts are a little bit different than most people have worked with before. And when people ask me, how do I get done all the things that I get done in a day? Or how do I stay focused on something to get to the conclusion of what I need to do? And that's my little secret in there, is that 40 to 70% effort. If I cross over the line and push myself too far, in effect, then, you know, I'm the one on the couch going, oh, I can't do anything. And then I'll go grab my bag of chips and I'll watch a movie. And that's where I'm at in my stress release. So always trying to stay within that framework of what is 40 and what is 70%. Okay, from there, we're going to do a little bit with breathing and centering and grounding, which we talked about before, but we're absolutely key in everything that you're doing, especially when you go to do any movement kind of patterns. You want to make sure you've got that deep breath happening so the body feels safe and it can get the air in and it can be full. I'm going to show you what whole body movement means, because a lot of people, they might go for a walk, which is great. And it gets the circulation going and gets you breathing and everything. But there are some key pieces in your movement that could be even better for you if you just added a few little twists to things. And so I'm going to try to show you how to do that. And that's going to just give you a brain-body connection that's going to allow the whole body to respond better, and the brain comes alive. So when you go to do some of your tasks that have been on the list for a while, you might notice all of a sudden they're just off the list and they're done. And you think, how come I struggled for weeks to get that finished? Or how come it took me all day? And then all of a sudden it's just the brain can focus in because you gave it a movement pattern that would allow it to work better. So that's also a different way to think. And then the last one there is spine rotation. And I'm going to talk about that because if you do go for a walk, you'll be walking straight. And sometimes people do physical activities that never actually change direction. And spine rotation is where you can actually calm emotions. And so I want to talk a little bit about how that could happen and let you experience that. So my goal today is in the atmosphere in which we are at this time, trying to overcome our anxiety as it's ramping up. We just want to get outside and we want to get busy in the garden and we want to start seeing the neighbors, allowing us still that opportunity to increase our energy flow so we can decrease our stress. And then how can we do that, and how can we continue to keep that in our every activities? Okay, so that's where I'm going to take you. And I'm just going to forward you to, that's where we're going to end up when we're done, is taking our activities outdoors. So I'm going to stop our share here so then I can see some of you. And if you would like to turn your camera on so I can see you, that's great. I do talk on Facebook Live every day to nobody but myself. Sometimes there's a name in front of me. So I'm used to that, but it's nice if I can see. Okay, so hopefully I can see everything. Okay, so if you wish to stand up, what I'd like you to do is just see what your feet feel like on the floor where you are at the moment. And if you're going to stay seated, because you left your pajama pants on, I say with a grin, then just tune into your feet and notice how they're feeling on the floor. So can you feel the pads of each toe? Can you feel the big ball? And can you feel the pinky ball of the foot? So it'd be kind of the pad of the ball of the foot. You've got the inside edge and you've got the outside edge. Can you feel them? Can you feel along the side of your foot? And can you feel your heel? Okay, now you're aware that they're there, but for me at the moment, it's like third and fourth toe aren't really there. They're present and they're touching the floor, but I actually can't really feel the floor all that much. I can also feel on my right foot, I'm pushing a little bit harder into the ball of the foot by my big toe. And so I'm a little bit imbalanced there. I want you to know what that awareness is because that's telling you how much awareness you have coming through your body and how much feedback is going from your body back to the brain. And so if there is some pieces missing, you're going to have some energy flow that's not there for you, and you definitely want that. So if you can be aware of that, that's going to be a good place to start to notice changes. Okay, so let's go to how you're sitting on the chair. So hopefully you're sitting on your sit bones, sitting straight up. And if you're standing, are you standing so that your hips are relaxed, your knees are unlocked, your shoulders are relaxed, and your neck is straight up? Okay, so just see what that feels like. So for a lot of people, let's turn, a lot of people take their knees and then they'll grip at the knee, hyperextend it, and then put the hip forward. And then they'll stand in that locked position. So just being able to bring that back and then let it sink. In jazz dancing, we call it standing down. So instead of standing up, we're standing down. Seated, you'd be pulling up through the top of the head and really connecting to the sit bones so that you're connected to the chair that you're sitting on. Okay, so now in that position, what I want you to notice is, where is your breath? So is it here? Is it quick? Is it here? Is it slow and expanding? Is it through the nose, out through the mouth, in the nose, out the nose? And maybe is it small and constricted? So just notice where it's at. And remember that your breath will tell you what the status of your body is. And so if you just stop sometimes while you're working away and just go, hey, where is my breath? And then realize I'm not really breathing. Then you have that opportunity to take a few deep breaths in and shift the body out of the stress that it's ramping to and pull it back. Okay, so now that you have some awareness pieces, I also would like you to see, you're sitting on a chair. You could do this too, it's just gonna feel a little different. We're gonna reach down to touch our toes. It doesn't matter if you can touch your toes, all that matters is what does it feel like to get there. So if I lean over and just feel where I'm at, my fingers don't quite make it to the floor at the moment. And I can feel on my one hip where I have a little bit of scar tissue, it's pulling a little bit tight, and the backs of my legs are tight. Okay, so just notice what that feels like. And again, this is just for us to bring awareness back to how you can make a change really quickly. Okay, so let's start with breathing. So if you plant your feet into the floor, feel the floor, stand down so everything's nice and relaxed. And what I want you to do is push into your feet and let your hands rise. And then just let that sink back down. Okay, and again, so you push into your feet. And then let your arms release. Now what you can notice is your elbows and your knees, if they're relaxed, will move together. They're actually linked, which is really cool. And if you're seated, when you push into the foot, you're going to notice that your lower back relaxes as soon as you push into your foot before your hands start to move. And that is where you start to make changes in the spine. Just let that go. Right. Okay, perfect. So let's go to sitting down, and I'll just expand that commencement a little bit. Okay, and if you wish to stay standing, that's okay too. I'm gonna have you back and forth a little bit. So I'm just gonna move myself to the bench. Okay, so my feet, I'll just move this so you can see a little bit better. You can see my feet. All right, so if I go to here and I'm sitting up through the top of my head, I can lift my spine and I can separate each vertebra, okay? And I can feel into my feet, and I can feel them vibrating now, having just done that little commencement. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is a couple more commencements, and then I'm going to just bring some awareness to your hands. Okay, so just pushing into the feet, and let that come up, and then let that come back down. Okay, and just do a couple more. I just have somebody that has just said, please let me in. So we'll let her in. Okay, here we go. So we're coming up. And let that go. And one more. Beautiful. If you have your mic unmuted, if you just, we'll just mute it, just to make sure. I think it was Tanya that just came on, so Tanya, if you just mute your mic. Perfect. Okay, so that gives us our commencement, and that starts to create our centering and grounding and get a flow of energy that's just going to come right through the body. So what I want you to do is take your hands now and just put them above your knees. And if there's a desk between you and your knees, if you just slide back from your desk so that you can have your hands over your knees. And I just want you to feel the energy from your palms go down through the knees, through the calf muscle down to your feet. And hopefully you start to feel a little bit of buzzing start to happen in the legs. So usually as soon as I put my hands there, I can notice. I don't notice it quite the same when I'm standing, but I notice it a lot more when I'm seated. And sometimes I learn more when I'm seated. So it's a good place to be. Okay, so we've got that little piece in there, and I hope that's changed how you're feeling the floor. So now what I would like you to do is just bring awareness to those 9 points of your feet again and see if that's different than before. And if you were standing when you did that assessment last time, you could just stand where you are and just notice. Just see if now you have maybe a little bit more awareness to the pads, the ends of the pads of each toe. And maybe you start to be a little bit more aware of the heel or the outer edge of the foot. To see what you notice. And for me, I have a little bit of vibration going on in my toes and my hands, which tells me I did wake everything up a little bit. Okay, so that gives us our first bit for centering and grounding and breathing. Okay, so let's do a little bit with spine rotation. I'm going to do this one seated so you can get a feel for it, and then I'll do it standing because there's two ways we could do this. And this is something great you can do when you are outside in the garden, especially if you are doing a lot of work in the garden and it'll just put everything back into motion. Or if you go for a walk, you stop to look at something, maybe just take a few moments just to add the spine rotation in, okay? So if you take your hands and put them apart, so like there's a balloon between your hands, there's a knot at the end of the balloon. What I want you to do is just pull your arms a little bit from you. Just turn so you can see. So my hands are going to go a little bit in front. So when I move my hands, they'll be in front of my knee. Okay? What I want you to do is just give a little push or awareness into your right foot. And it's going to move you towards your left. And right there, You're just going to turn so that your hand lines up with your left knee. Okay, so the knot of the balloon would be here, centered with your knee. And then just a tiny little bit of awareness into the left foot, and there can be a rotation that goes to the right. Okay, so let's take it back. So into the right, sends you over. Into the left, sends you back. Into the right, sends you over. You're remembering to breathe. Just relaxing, and send it back. Beautiful. Okay, now you have emotions that go up and down your spine. And I say that by meaning your body will take your experiences and pocket it in tissue. And up and down the spine, the tendons that link to the muscles are all linked to different emotional experiences. And so sometimes you'll get that tightness in between your shoulder blades, and you go, oh, I can't understand that, it's so tight back there. But all of a sudden, that emotion that sits there is raising awareness, and it's locked itself up a little bit. So if I was to look at shoulders, that'd be around T4, T5. So you could have worry, you could have anguish, you could have some depression, could be sitting, and it just starts to tighten up the tissue a little bit, and then you start feeling that. And just by doing this little piece here, nice and relaxed with deep breaths, you can de-stress that whole system and allow that to let go. Okay. All right, so let's try it standing for those that wish to do that. I'll just bring my camera up a little. And the reason I'm going to do this, I'm just going to give you a different arm. And this is something that's nice to do if you're out on a walk and you stop somewhere. You're going to take your palm and put it by your ear. And the other hand is just going to push away. It's like it's pushing through water. And you're just going to push into your right foot just the tiniest little bit, and it's going to turn you towards the left. And then your hands will change places. And if you push into your left foot, it'll turn you back to the right. And you don't have to go very far, so you don't have to turn all the way around, because you could. But you just want just enough that the spine has the chance to be turning in a relaxed manner. Nice and gentle. This is fantastic out on the deck first thing in the morning, listening to the birds and just looking across a field or at your flower pots, just to be able to just get everything moving and adjusting. Fantastic. Okay, and that awareness into the feet, that little bit of push is creating whole body movement, which means that the entire system is functioning together as a unit. It's fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to give you my ultimate exercise. So in Tai Chi, the Danyu is the gem of all gems. Standing can be a little bit tougher if you have a tight back, so I like to learn it seated, and then when people have a back that lets go and is nice and relaxed, then you can go to standing. And it depends on the day. Some days I have a really tight back, and the standing Danyus are not going to be it. So then I just sit down and do it that way. So it's good. Okay, so if you take your feet shoulder width apart, pull your ankles back just a little bit so you'll be able to actually get up out of your chair. And if you're sitting at your desk, just make sure you have enough room to be able to come up and sit back down. Okay, so you're not going to bang your knees on anything. Okay, perfect. Okay, so there are many layers to this, and I have this all on video with all the descriptions. So I'm just going to walk you through some layers. So the first layer is the hands. So your hands are going to be palm up, and you're just going to fall forward into your feet as you raise your hands out. And then the palms turn over, push into your feet, and you come back. So you're falling forward into the feet, push into the feet, sends you back. That's it. This little baby will open up all the energy lines in the body and allow for a free flow of energy that can go from head to toe. And again, it's nice and relaxed, no stress. And your breathing just kind of follows it. So if you haven't been breathing deeply or you've been quickly breathing, then this will allow it to slow down, go a little bit deeper. Okay. If all you could do was this little piece, because you have an injury, and let's say you've been sitting a lot and you're bedridden, something like that, if you just did even your hands, not even moving your body forward and back, just this little action, it's like commencement. It actually starts to massage all the internal organs, gets them talking to each other, and it starts to open up the whole field so everything flows better. Okay, so let's take it a little bit further. We're going to fall forward into the feet, will be our first danyu. The second danyu, we're going to balance on our feet. So on the second one, my hands will come out, and I'll just lift my bum off of the seat, and then I'll sit back down again. Okay, and then the third one, my hands are going to go out, and I'm going to push into my feet to go straight up. So my hands go up, push into my feet lift me, and then I can just sit back into the chair. And the chair will not have disappeared. And so some people will look back to make sure it's still there, but it didn't go anywhere. So you know you're safe. Okay, unless you're on wheels at your desk. Okay, here goes. So you're falling forward into your feet and push back. And then we're just going to go forward and lift our butts and go back. And then your hands come up. So you're standing, and then this goes down to sit. Okay, so let's try that again. So we've got forward, sink back. Balance on your feet, sink back. Out of the chair, and sink back. Nice, thank you. For the ones I can see, it's great. Okay, so one more set. In and out, balance on your feet, and up and out. Yeah, good. So if I have been sitting at my desk and I have been focused on something for a little bit, if I just push myself back from there and just do 5 sets of those, I can have the energy flowing from head to toe and I can just be completely refocused. It's a really quick way to get there. And also, if you spend a lot of time sitting, gives you the chance to engage those legs. And if you have knee challenges, this is one really safe way to work the knees without, torquing in different directions or working too hard. You do need to keep your knees shoulder width apart, so you don't want to close them together when you go to get up, or you don't want to wow them out. That would be the other piece. Okay, so let's do the foot exercise, and this is great to do underneath your desk, but I also do it at the dinner table. If the conversation starts to get a little bit slow, depending on what we're up to, then sometimes I will get going with my feet, and that completely re-energizes me. So this is accenting the foot up, because you're trying to make the power come this way. If we were listening to Celtic music, we would be tapping down into the floor, but we're actually going to tap up out of the floor. You have a little pump in your heel, which is going to pump the blood and the lymphatic fluid back up to the core and help to change everything. So if we change to the other side, you only need to do about 10, 15 of them. So not too many. Okay, and then you put your feet together, put your hands between your knees. We've got turning side to side. If your back is relaxed, you'll be able to feel in your lower back, you'll be able to feel it shifting with you. And not because you moved your hips, just the back muscles are adjusting to what you're doing with your feet. Okay, and then bring that back to center, and then your heels are going to go. All right. And each one you only need about 10, don't need too many. Then you're just going to take your toes and open them out to the side and then bring them back in. So you've got open and close. And this one changes again in the lower back along the L5, which a lot of people will find gets strained when they're out in the garden. If they haven't been doing that action for a while, this will help to relax it. Okay, and then the foot goes straight to the front and your heels. And this one will just be changing how the hips are moving in the socket. And your hips are reciprocal to your shoulders and also to your jaw. So if you've been focused in on a screen, this gives a different way for the body to change how things are working and relax some of the areas. Okay, put your feet together and we go twist, 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 and then slide a pointed toe out. You can leave it there, you can lift it up, but it's pointed. And this is going to open energy lines that pass along the top of the leg, which are liver, gallbladder, stomach, spleen, and bladder. Kidney is on the bottom, and we'll get that one in a minute. Twist, twist, twist. And that's going to come up. And again, you don't have to lift your foot. If it's too much, you can leave it there on the floor. This one's a heel this time, pushing out, and that's how we get a kidney. So we have a water point behind the knee. So if you have your knees bent a lot, or you've been sitting a lot, you'll have that flow of fluid stopped, and this will help to open it back up. Pops up right behind the knee, and there's 2 points for kidney and bladder there for the energy lines. And one more. Okay, then we're just going to run our feet, just like Fred Flintstone, whole foot on the floor, and just feel that. Okay, now if you compare your legs to when you started today and you first sat down, see if you can notice a change in the energy that's flowing through and how far it goes. So at the moment, mine flows now up to about middle of my back. Lots of people will tell me it kind of comes to about mid-leg for them, some people to about the hips. And eventually, you can have it work straight up to the top of the head. Okay, so this one here, we're just going to turn the hands. This one can be reciprocal to your spine, it can be to the lower leg, it can be your neck. So even though we're turning our hands and we're moving the forearm, we can send our intention into different parts of the body and influence other parts. Okay, excellent. So now this one you can do seated, but you can do it bed. So it's a good way to start the day if you don't know, can't quite get out of bed, or you've been in bed because you've been sick. This is a great way to just get things moving. And again, it's going to flow things up and down the spine. Okay, and if you start to feel the forearms get a little bit like you can feel some heat building, that tells you you have a little bit of block. So we're just going to go like this and rotate right from the shoulder. And that's going to change that flow through the shoulders. And again, this could be shoulders, but it could be hips. Okay. So what I'm going to do is stand up and do it standing. You can stay seated if you wish. And what I'm going to do is just show you with my arms where you're going to be, just so you can see a little bit. All right. So if you bring your hands back up, I'm just going to turn so you can see. Some people will try to do this with their elbows close to their sides, but you want to actually pull it out. So you have a 90-degree angle here, and your shoulders will be engaged when you go to start. And that means then the flow can go all the way through the body, not just to your actual forearms and your hands. Right. And then you just breathe. This one is really good if you need to de-stress. And just bring your hands up. Excellent. Okay. So, double check. I think I got everything. The last one I want to give you before I take you for a little walk in the garden is your feet, how you step on your feet. So let's just bring this down. Hopefully you're feeling the flow now coming through your fingers. There's a little bit of a buzz in there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just show you how to walk on your feet a little bit. So if you have some space around where you're sitting, I'm just going to take you on a little walk. And this is just bringing awareness to the feet. So it's just stepping a small step forward and then push off the back toe, follow the foot all the way through each toe, and then balancing on your right foot. Then take a little step, push through the other foot, walk through each toe, and then balance on that foot. So this little action here, I have quite a few students who noticed that the fluid in their ankles started to disappear and their articulation for their toes was starting to make their foot cramps disappear. So if that's something that you have a challenge with, this may be helpful. And then we can do the same thing going backwards. Roll down through the foot, stand on that leg. Down through the foot, stand on the leg. Okay. There are many variations of this one. And again, I have it all filmed, so it's on the YouTube channel, and you can find it. This one I absolutely love to work with. It's nice and slow, and you can use your commencement if you want and just sink. And I'm sharing this with you because when we finally get out into the grass and get barefoot in the grass, playing with this can be really nice just to really nourish you again. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is come a little bit closer and bring you to one last thought, and then I'll hand you over to Roni for her insights and ideas that have been spurred from what we're doing. All right. And, oops, just hold on here. I forgot to tell you I was going to share. Just one sec. So, all right, and we have, there we go. All right, so the last thing I just wanted to talk about is being very present with our outdoors. So a lot of people will be starting to go out into the garden, go for walks, down the pathways. Hopefully they open the beaches and we can get there. So I just thought I would bring awareness to your senses because that is another way to de-stress. So one is connecting with the earth. If you're walking outside, you can go barefoot in the grass. It's so much nicer than walking in running shoes in plastic. So you can actually connect to the grass. If it happens to be in the sand, barefoot in the sand, let yourself just let those feet just be caressed by the sand and be really present on how your feet are navigating in either the grass or the sand. The other is time with the water, listening to the water, watching the waves, letting your breath match the waves, and just letting yourself kind of be lulled by that water because it can nourish you as well. You've got movement of the trees. And this is where, yes, we have wind that'll come up and blow through for us. But if you can just be aware of the trees, the rustling sound of the leaves, and you can just stand underneath them, you're going to notice there's a nourishment that comes from the trees as well. We do some of that with Tai Chi movements. Color. Be really aware of the colors around you. Notice the sky, notice the leaves, notice how they're changing. The different flowers that start to bloom at the different times of the year. And those colors nourish you all in different ways as well. And the last is the fresh air. And we know we go outside for fresh air, but you have to remember to breathe while you're there. Sometimes we forget. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share there. And Roni, I would love for you to share the insights that you've got and what comes to mind for you.
That was wonderful, Michelle. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed that. So I was actually going to comment, one of the suggestions I was going to make was a mindful walk, very similar to what you were just talking about. But my contribution to movement is a little bit different. My expertise, is sort of in the exercise area, the fitnessy kind of area. And everywhere you look now, it seems like there are people offering free fitness classes, and everybody always says, for your mental health, you should be exercising every day. And so there's, it feels like there's a lot of pressure, and a lot of people tend to start, go to bed every night saying, starting tomorrow, I'm going to fitness every day, and we set all these goals for ourselves that we want to make sure we're getting in all of this exercise and everything every day, which is wonderful. And obviously, yes, we should be and participating in all these classes and everything. But what I sort of wanted to talk about is more the pressure that we put on ourselves to do all of those things, and how it's okay if you're not. Because what often happens is, yes, it's really wonderful to get that exercise in every day, great for your mental health, but it's really bad for your mental health if you're unable to force yourself to do it and then beat on yourself every day because you didn't. Defeats the purpose. So that's kind of just where I wanted to go with it. Don't do that. Like if you're not fitnessing every day, you're doing any of the things that you think that you're supposed to be doing exercise wise, that's fine. That's cool. That's, you do you, like whatever works for you. If you are getting the exercise in, wonderful. If you're not, don't beat on yourself for it. Just let that be okay. You may not have energy for it. You can try doing a lot of the things Michelle just went through to see if you can build up some energy and see if that helps some. But if you just don't have the energy for it, that's cool. But what you can do, like I said, a lot of what Michelle just took you through, you can try doing some of those and see if it helps you to build some of that energy so that you want to do a little bit of exercise. But what you can do is really focus on staying connected with how your body's feeling, right? So if you're telling yourself, I want to exercise, or I should be exercising, but you're not, well, like, why am I not? And what am I feeling in my body? So instead of feeling like I'm supposed to be exercising, or I should be exercising, or I should be, just stay connected, like in here. And what do I feel? What do I need? Like Michelle talked about the tight neck and stuff. If your body feels tight, if you're emotionally exhausted, you don't have energy to do exercise, and that's okay. But you can still do other things. Again, you can do a lot of the things Michelle just went through. Wonderful exercises to build a little bit of energy. You can try to, like, if you don't have the energy for a walk, step outside on your step and just walk to the end of your driveway and breathe. That will build some energy. And a lot of times with exercise and movement and these types of things, the hardest part to get ourselves to do is just to start. So instead of thinking, well, what's the point of walking if I'm not going to do an hour, and I don't have time to do an hour, or I don't have energy to do an hour? Think 5 minutes of mindful walking and, listening to the water, like Michelle was just saying, and doing all of those things, that's better than no minutes. And once you start, the chances that you will keep doing it and go for even longer are high, because again, starting is the hardest part. So if you're struggling to find ways to stay more active, and you keep promising to be all fitnessy and you never do it, just keep paying attention to how it feels to be in your body and asking yourself, what would make my body feel better right now? Sometimes your body's going to say, sleep feels better right now. But other times, if you're paying attention and you're listening to it, your body's going to tell you, oh gosh, my neck is really sore, or oh, my energy is really low and I just need to be outside moving a little bit, right? So just always, again, coming back to that connection with your body, and what does my body need right now? Forget what I think I'm supposed to do or I should do, or any of that stuff. What does my body actually need right now? And when you do it from that perspective, and you take away the pressure of doing all of the things you think you're supposed to be doing, and you just come at it from a place of, I just want to spend 5 minutes doing something that's going to make my body feel better right now. I promise you that's going to help your mental health more than an hour of exercise that you're not going to do because you're trying to force yourself to do something that sucks. So make it super easy. Make it something that feels better, that makes your body feel better almost immediately, and make it fast. If you're struggling to find ways to talk yourself into doing stuff, like the things that Michelle just went through, so simple, so easy. Most of them, you saw me do all of them just sitting. You don't even have to get up to do them, and you're going to feel better. And so think of it that way. How does my body feel? How do I want it to feel? And what can I do right now to bridge that gap? Because there's immediate gratification if whatever you choose to do right now makes your body feel better in 2 minutes, right? Versus trying to force yourself to suffer through an hour of exercise and then just not doing anything and then beating on yourself because you didn't do anything. Makes sense? So that's just sort of where I wanted to come at it from. And if we have, I think we were going to leave a few minutes at the end for questions and things. I did have a very short meditation that I wanted to just finish the series off with before we end the whole thing for good, though, if that's okay. Maybe like 5-minute meditation, if that's okay.
Sounds good. And what I'll do is I'll put the last PowerPoint up with some of our resources just at the end when you finish the meditation.
Yeah, I didn't get the PDF done yet, but I'm going to have another handout for this week too that's going to give just a couple quick exercises that you can do, some really super short yoga videos that you can do for certain areas of our bodies that tend to be the most tight. Again, like Michelle said, the neck and the shoulders and the hips and lower back also tend to be among the most tight. So I am going to have a PDF available for some of those things too, just to help you put those things into practice a little bit. Again, just the 2 to 5 minutes a day just to do something will make your body feel better than not doing anything. And if you do nothing, that's cool too. Don't beat on yourself for it.
Okay. Did you want to start the meditation?
Do we want to do the meditation first, or do we want to open for some questions first?
Up to you guys. Anybody have any questions? Anyone have questions over the 3 weeks? Because we did mindfulness and we did nutrition and then we did movement. So questions or comments, any takeaways from our 3-week session that these lovely ladies provided us? Oh, another quiet bunch.
Well, why don't we do the meditation and then we'll just hang out, and whomever would like to stay and ask questions, they are welcome to do so. And I'll put the PowerPoint up at the end of that. And for anybody who has to disappear because they've got to go back to work or attend to somebody, thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing with us. And we hope we've given you some resources that you can use.
Yeah.
Yes,
And the chamber will have it on our social media channels and as well on our website. And also on the website, there's COVID-19 information there around mental health. And we always update it if there's webinars and things going on. So, and follow us on social media, follow Ronnie and Michelle as well. And we always have something going on. Yeah. And thank you everyone for participating. And thank you dearly, Michelle and Ronnie, for coming to us and offering to do these sessions, because we really greatly appreciate it. It was the most talked about panel from our FemPower Women Leadership in Quebec from February. So we were more than happy to have you back and teach us some more.
awesome. Thanks, Susan. All right, so this is easy. We're just going to sit comfortably. Find yourself a nice, comfortable position. You're going to close your eyes down and you're just going to start to breathe and relax. So you're just going to take a minute to center yourself. Sitting upright in a confident position, feeling supported and at ease in this position. Close your eyes down. Observe your breath. Relax. And expand your awareness to the sensations of your body. Notice the surface beneath you and how it supports you. Root your body into its strength. Visualize or imagine in your mind's eye a grand mountain. It can be one that you've seen or one that you make up. It can stand alone or be part of a mountain range. This mountain's been here for a long time. It's supported by a vast foundation of bedrock, and it is unmoving and powerful. It may have jagged ridges or smooth slopes. It can be tree covered or bare, blanketed with snow or dripping with waterfalls. However it is, let it be as it is. Perfect. Be this mountain and experience its stillness. With your head at the peak and your spine as the axis, feel yourself become centered and grounded. Feel the core of the mountain that remains unchanged even as the seasons begin to change around it. Be the mountain as the seasons turn to fall and you're surrounded by golden light and bright colors. As the cycles of life shift toward decline, watch as the dormancy and darkness of winter take hold and sustain through the intensity of the violent weather, ice, and snow. Notice how the mountain remains still, quiet, and steady through the storms. Feel the warmth of the sun as it begins to warm once again. The stirrings of new life emerging from the thawing ground. The rush of melt overflowing and cascading from the mountain peaks. Hear the songs of birds and watch the wildflowers sprout in a dance of new beginnings. Bathe in the heat as summer ignites a flurry of growth and life. As thunderstorms roll through your valleys. Watch as the sky becomes aglow with deep orange and yellow as the sun sets behind you. Slowly turning to darkness that reveals the galaxies and endless space beyond, only to be obscured again with the rosy hues of dawn. Be the mountain that remains still and grounded through the changes of weather, time, and seasons that take place at its surface, undisturbed at your core. Notice how day and night come and go. The seasons are in a constant state of change, and yet you resist nothing, knowing that deep down you remain unchanged, secure, safe, and whole. You, like the mountain, your life will present an ever-changing experience at the surface. And you will experience varying degrees of darkness, light, activity, and stillness. But always remember that at your core, the truth of who you are remains strong and patient, allowing everything that passes to be as it is, as you enjoy the variety and colors of life with composure and compassionate clarity. From here, we're going to take one super big deep breath in, big deep breath, big belly breath. And let it go. When you're feeling ready, take your time. There's no rush. When you're feeling ready, open your eyes and come back to the room. How'd that feel? Everybody feeling grounded and confident and still and full of energy from Michelle's awesome exercises, movements?
That feels wonderful, Roni. Oh,
Thank you.
just so much. And one thing I didn't comment on is community. Because sometimes, just lifting your arms, sitting in your chair to do a commencement and deep breathe, you don't feel like even doing that. But it takes connecting with one person, and it might be you get up from your chair and you see someone in the house, or you connect on Facebook, or you just pick up the phone and do it the old-fashioned way, and just that conversation ignites you and allows you to move to the next place. And I didn't talk about that, but community is so important. So
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
thank goodness for our Chamber of Commerce, because they are a community that keeps us centered and focused and together. So
And supported, yes, absolutely. So
Thank you,
grateful.
Michelle. Thank you, ladies. Yeah, we appreciate you guys as well. Yeah. Any comments on the today's or the week's events that we had? No, quiet bunch. Well, thank you again. I greatly appreciate it. And it definitely, I was looking at the movements that you did today, and I know a few people that I'll definitely share them with that, maybe can't get around as well. And I know some friends that have commented on, our new at-home offices are not ergonomically set up the way we have to be able to bring some energy back to your body and mind. So yeah, it's awesome.
yeah, and not to underestimate color. I know you see in my background there's color all through my house, but just what color you put on makes a big difference. So if you need a little boost, go to the cupboard, see what you've got in your t-shirts or your sweatpants, but not choosing a darker, like a black or a gray all the time, and going, what color really picks me up today? And that can make such a difference. We just have no idea.
Speaking to a black and a gray lady.
I'm looking at the ones on the screen, and my background is always so full of color. So, but it depends what room I go into too, what I need, because I have 2 rooms that are yellow. So the sun shines for me every day, where my husband, it's always gray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Okay, well, I'll stop the recording and we'll hang out if there's anybody that has anything else that they would